There is no such thing as a bad first draft. First drafts are not bad, they are young. My name is Jahid, aka the Barefoot Wordsmith, and for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, welcome home, and for those of you who have seen me before, welcome back. Today, I kind of want to discuss stories, craft, and the language we use in which we describe not only the things we're writing, but also ourselves in the process. I have lots of friends who are writers, lots of people in my circle, in my community who are fellow ink masters, as a character I've written likes to say. And so often, these people I know, myself included, I'm not excluding myself from the standard, we almost demand perfection from ourselves when we sit down at the page to write, to create, to transmute. And when something falls short of this, self-imposed standard, we deem it as bad. And if you go on Pinterest or if you look at any conventional writing advice, the language you almost always hear is it's okay if your first draft sucks. First drafts are meant to be bad. And I used to kind of ascribe to this way of thinking until recently I had some revelations where I was like, no, I don't think anything that I write is bad. I think it's just in its early stages of infancy. My stories aren't bad. They're just young, right? And the metaphor and the analogy I like to use is you wouldn't tell a 2-year old or a toddler they were bad at track because they can't run 100 meters in 11 seconds. That's something they can do when they're older and when they've matured a little bit. But for right now, where they're at in their current stage of development, them running 100 yards in probably a couple of minutes is wonderful. It's beautiful, in fact. But as they continue to age and progress and their skills deepen, that time is eventually going to shorten. And it's the same things with stories. I like to think of the four drafts in the storytelling process are what you perceive, right? What you think, what you need, and then what you know. Let me elaborate when I say this. So, the first draft, which I think gets a bad rap for being the shitty draft or the bad draft, is really you just getting the words onto the page. It's just one long stream of word vomit consciousness, basically, right? It's you jotting down ideas, scenes, moments in the ways that they come to you, however you perceive them. And when I say perception, um, I've learned that different writers receive stories differently. Some people are able to close their eyes and they're just in the scene. They can visualize it, they can see it, smell it, all of that. And some people are like me, where I hear everything. Words come to me first, dialogue, language. I hear conversations and I'm able to build off of that and expand it. And I also am a feeler. And that's another way. Some people just feel things that need to happen. They may not see it, they may not hear it, but they feel it. And I am a cross between auditory and kind of like emotionally tapped in. If I hear it, I can feel it. If I feel it, I can hear it. And again, that first draft is it's not necessarily going to be sequential or chronological. It might not even make sense. You're just getting words on the page. You feel what I'm saying? So right now, for my current work in progress, We Who Bleed, We Who Burn, I have a long running document called Soul Core, which are just moments that I intuitively feel and hear. And it's just like it's scenes, it's lines of dialogue, it's interactions I know, or I think I know in this stage, right, are going to happen, must happen, need to happen. And that's really is. And I go and I write what calls to me. I don't necessarily write in order at this stage. It's like, hey, if I wake up and I'm really just feeling this character in my bones today, I may write this interaction they're having with another character, and I'll keep doing that until, oh shit, I have a book now, right? Now, the second draft is think. This is what you think, right? This is okay, you've gotten the first draft out, you've kind of put it in order, but now you're like, okay, this chapter makes more sense here. This interaction needs to come in the third part of the book. Actually, the second part of the book needs to be the fifth part of the book. And oh wait, no, in order to build up to this moment, I need to foreshadow it here, here, and here. You're weaving in what you think needs to happen. And the reason I use the language of think is because you have to spend a considerable amount of time with the story, with the characters, with the world before you're at a level or a place where you can use language like need and know. Because the reality is I think authors simultaneously underestimate how much they know about a story, but at the same time, we can also overestimate how much we think we know about it. Because the truth is sometimes we're a little too close, can't see the forest for the trees kind of thing. But at this stage, we also have some good instincts. I would say 8 out of 10 times, right? So this is the stage where, like, okay, like I said, moving stuff around, kind of shuffling it. This is where you do a lot of self-editing, read through the drafts, make some notes, make some changes here. You do this, I'm not gonna hold you. You're probably gonna do this anywhere from like 5 to like 12 times. If you're like me, probably in those upper ranges of like 10, where you just go through and you revise, 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 and that's think. Now the third stage is kind of like where you get to the language of need. Now you've spent enough time with the story and you're familiar with it enough to be like, okay, I need another set of eyes. I need a beta reader, a copy editor, a developmental editor, someone who's able going to be able to come in and look at the story objectively and tell me what I need, what's working, what isn't, how I can go deeper, themes, tone, pacing, character arcs, that kind of thing. Now, I usually say it's after a few rounds of deep editing, that's when you really start to like know the story and know what you're writing. You feel me? Because I've often found, my mother's the one who told me, and she says the real writing takes place in the editing, because I don't think it's until you have someone who is as intimately invested in the story challenging you to go deeper, do you really get a better grasp and handle on these characters and these worlds that you're kind of writing and experiencing and translating. So, sorry, my neighbor just played her radio really loud. But for me, in my case at least, that's really where the magic happens, especially with my editor. Shout out to Skylar. She will challenge me to honor the story and the people and make sure I am doing right by them and doing justice. And that's really when I learn a lot, not just about the story I'm writing, but also myself. And I have little mini revelations, but those mini revelations can shift the entire trajectory of the manuscript and allow me to realize things about these people that I otherwise would not have known had I not gone through the trenches of editing. So all that is to say is it's kind of a process. So when we are using this language and we're talking about our first drafts and we just finished writing it, please stop calling it bad. It's not bad. It's just new, it's just young, it's just learning, right? It's still in a very amorphous shape. It hasn't really settled into anything concrete yet, because the first draft, you don't have the story. And then it's a little quick political joke right here. You have concepts of a story at this point, and that's not bad. It just is. It's just honoring and recognizing where you're at in this stage of your writing process. You don't have to shit on it. You don't have to make it seem like it's anything less than what it is, because it's not. It's still beautiful. You still put words on the page. You still showed up. You still did the thing, and that's a huge accomplishment. But like another thing I also noticed that a lot of writers do is when they're sending their work to other people, it's like they feel the need to warn them beforehand, like, oh, this is the first draft, so if it sucks, if it's bad, don't hate me. Now, I am of the persuasion that you should not be showing anybody first drafts. Or first drafts are, like I said, perceiving. You're telling yourself the story. You're still figuring out how the story comes to you. I don't think you really need another set of eyes on it until that thinking stage, after you've done several rounds of deep self-editing. But please understand, you don't have to justify the way your story exists and takes up space. Just let it be what it is and let it develop naturally, the way a human might, or the way a child might. You know what I mean? Like, if you have in someone who's a small compressed human, I don't know why I forgot the language for toddler right there, but if you have like a toddler and they're upset because, I don't know, they can't reach shit, you're not going to shame them and make them feel bad because they're little. It's like, no, you're going to grow, just give it time. Same thing with your story, it's going to grow. Just give it time, give yourself grace. You're doing wonderfully, you're doing beautifully. And please remember, if you took nothing away from this, your story is not bad. It's just young. So let it be young and treat it with the tenderness with which you would a child. That's Jahid, aka the Barefoot Wordsmith. I hope you got some value out of this. I appreciate you guys. See you next time. Peace out.